For those who are waiting for the next run up, it does look like we are about to start that. We're watching the market in different segments and we are watching that we're trying to bounce off. But yes, we are still at the support. But what's the catch here? If we go into this chart, it's actually a Ranko chart where it is not time sensitive, it's price sensitive. So a lot of us are time sensitive. If it's taking more time, it's hard for us to stay calm. But this chart kind of shows you that once it starts to turn green after a long drop, when you have your indicators aligning to the upside and a pattern focusing to the upside, it becomes bullish. What am I talking about? Last time when you actually got such a pattern, the price action did run up. That was 2021 run up. Now you're watching something like this forming. Yes, it's not confirmed yet. You need the price to bounce back up and test this range of resistance. And once it does, you're watching something like this starting from that range. Question, however, remains like how high we can actually go inside this run up. For sure, you'll have to go zooming in or at least go on different charts and indicators to understand where the momentum is for the time being, because this downside has actually erased a lot of momentum and a lot of hype in the market, which was actually needed. Because as soon as we got the clarity from the market of SEC announcement, people were like, okay, this is about to bombard to the sky. And that's the issue. Like, the market don't want to give us what we really want. The market doesn't really want to make a lot of us rich. It'll try to shake us much as possible and push those weak hands to the outside. Now, if you actually look at all this, it kind of makes a lot of sense. So if you look at this, the idea being shared here is a lot of Bitcoin ETFs are about to come in soon. And then you're watching like, okay, this is happening when they talk about Bitcoin at a time when this is possible. So that makes a lot of sense. And then whether it's about XRP, we usually see a run higher during this particular event. So we do have that buy the rumor, sell the news coming in. And we do have to talk through some of these so that you actually understand, okay, this is the area where they are focusing on, and this is something we are all watching for. So the market does give you the idea of where we are headed. Yeah, short term, you're watching there is a possibility that Bitcoin may come back down here and then bounce off. But yes, you will also have to go on a macro chart to see what it is showing you, whether it's XRP, whether it's a different asset. This is important. Welcome to the scientific investor family, where the normal retail guys get learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, we are in a range which is really tight. We are watching that this particular candle here, that's still the range. That short term, this is a daily chart, that short term movement to the upside did break through these resistance and put in a new higher high, which is great here because you need to understand we are consistently making higher lows and now we are putting in higher highs. That's actually a great thing to watch. So even if the price come back down to this range, we are more likely to follow this through to the upside. So that's the short-term narrative. Now, before we dig in deep, thank you again for hitting that like button. So if you are receiving value, please do smash that like button. Now let's jump ahead. Now, if you actually look at the short-term chart here on XRP, you're like, okay, there is a possibility that we may come back down, drop onto that trend line, and then bounce off. Great. But this is the monthly chart. You are still in this territory where you are rounding back up and you're moving back to the upside. Last time we have done this, it was here. So those who entered in this range, it was really, really hard to hold on to that asset because it's tackling or fighting with that moving average to break through and make it as a new support and then bounce off. I think that's exactly where we are right now. We broke that. We are retesting that. We want to bounce off. As soon as it goes higher, maybe a 3x, maybe a 5x, we really don't know how high it's going to go. Say from this 0.5 range, if we bounce off, it is going to be a regrettable decision for a lot of us who won't enter this asset right now or who are on the sidelines. And that's why we see these FOMO candles. As soon as the price breaks through a particular range, which they thought it's not going to break, they all jump in instead of buying it at a time when the price is doing something like this. This gives you a huge opportunity, in my opinion. But right now, the question is if you are following a weekly candle. This is right now showing you, yeah, the last week was green. This week again is green. Now we are getting on to the close. In a couple of days, we're actually going to get the weekly candle close. And this month, we still have a long way to go. So what we want to watch is how this monthly candle closes here. As of now, it shows the last month was red. This month is till now it is red. It is holding on to the moving average, just above the moving average. And we have watched a couple of times that once you break through that, you come back down to the moving average. Test that and then bounce off. So if we did that last time, say somewhere from 0.35 running around 6x towards $2, that was a great run up. That was not actually a bad deal with all those exchanges delisting, less volume, less liquidity and all. We made that. So this time around, we are being listed in all of these exchanges. We have a lot of liquidity coming into the market. We have a ton of adoption on the other side. So the price action as it goes to the upside is going to be enormous. It's going to be hard for those who want to FOMO back into this asset during that time. This is the critical area we are watching. You go up, you come back down. You go up, you come back down. This kind of mess usually happens. It happens every now and then. But what we need to understand on a macro picture is like, okay, if you want less noise, great. You can actually go on and say, okay, I'm a little bit long-term guy. Even if you're saying like a year or two, it still is helpful. You go take in a 50-day moving average. That kind of gives you a bit more clarity. Now for XRP, it's somewhere around 60, 65 days. We have done that in the past, so you guys actually know how we actually reach there. But once you actually put that in, you kind of get the idea. Each time you reach there, you get rejected. You reach there, you get rejected. You reach there, you get rejected. You come back down and you say, no, this time I'm not going back down to this lower level of support. You bounce back up and you prove that's not just one higher high, you're now putting in another higher high. So you literally got a change in the structure, a continuation. Great. Now, what are we really watching? We watched the price come back down. We watched it make a base. Now we are watching it go back up. Here, the momentum is lower. The momentum came back in on that day, July 13th, when the SEC kind of ruled out the possibility of any winning for SEC. That means XRP is not a security. We understood that factor. Which means on the other end, institutions understand there's a lot of retail who are going to make a ton of money and they really don't want you to do that. They're trying as much as possible to push the price to the downside. But what we have is a structure like this. Usually, whenever we get these kind of structure, we kind of reverse back up. Remember, this time we do have all those exchanges listing this asset. Going up means another level of FOMO. There is no doubt in that. So let's actually come back into these. What's happening around us? There is a possibility that all these Bitcoin ETFs are going to come out at a time. That's going to be a surprise factor in the market. That's going to be a spark in the market. But at the same time, you're watching these social media networks kind of doing this stuff. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is really going on? It doesn't actually look really good. They're limiting the reach of this asset class as much as possible by their end or by them. And now they're like, okay, I don't really care about what you think. But they're like, okay, I want you to have a prejudice against this asset class. The way they talk about crypto in a lot of these Congress, Parliament, and all, they don't really understand anything about this asset class. Because when you're actually looking at the developer activity and we say like, okay, these are the best developer activity platforms, great. Or in other words, these platforms are attracting a lot of developers. What the hell are they doing there? They are developing future products. They are coming in with new use case to solve the pain points to solve. Whether it's any of these platforms, they all have some kind of future, meaning there is a ton of more activities coming in. Imagine this. Ether went up from that price point to this price point because of the developer activity, because of the Hinman speech. The green light was given to them and a lot of developers moved in there. So as soon as you see a ton of money coming into the market, it would be one, based on the fundamentals, two, based on the valuation models, where if you actually took at Metcalfe's law, you'll actually understand the fact that the number of nodes on that networks, which are, reliable ones, it kind of gives a ton of value. That's where XRP Ledger is also coming on top of it. But the difference is, it's not just the developers who are coming in. It's all these banks, financial institutions, and others who are using this technology. So you're not literally watching that on this list. Why? Because here it's just looking at the developer activity. There it's not only developer activity, or at least as of now, the amount of nodes on the network is not the actual developers. It's really low. You're just starting to see a lot of new developers coming into the space. It is going to take some time. But what exists in the market right now is the banking, the financial institution as a node. So I personally believe the value of those nodes are going to increase sky high. But keep in mind, having that amount of fundamentals doesn't mean it's a good buy now. Think about this. This asset went up to 400. Now it's at 87. That is a good buy. Okay, fine. Which means, the price dropped massively. But the question again is, okay, that is a good price. But is it a really great price? The right price to buy in? That's where you have to go through. We actually shared our thought process in the alerts when we bought it around $8 to $10, $12, wrote it somewhere close to like, 300, 375, and gave you guys like the exits. And at that time, you also have to understand the price went from $1.50 towards $400, $40. That's a huge run up. So now you need to go in deep and understand, okay, which of these assets are really taking that sense from the market. The bull run is here. I'm about to run high. If you want to join, you can join. If you want to participate, you can participate. But for those who are participating in this run up, it's not going to be easy. I mean, if you actually look back, this range, if you're a bear, you're writing it down, it was not an easy path. There was a lot of chop and volatility as you were coming back down. Now, say you are a bull. Great. When it was going up, the first was the surprise move in, and then it was a lot of chop before you started running up. So the market did retire a lot of those who came in just because of this run up or the hype. The hype created by this first run up was washed here. The market kind of rinsed, washed, and flushed a lot of other people and then moved back up. So if you are highly levered, it's a concern. If you hold on to an asset which you strongly believe in and you're looking at this and you saw the other end, like the developer activity, the fundamental of that particular asset is high, now it's up to you what you really want to do. But if you're looking at it on a technical perspective for the entire asset class, it looks something like this. You broke this one, you're consolidating or retesting this, and I believe after this kind of a move, the price usually runs up. Last time you didn't actually get too big of this range, right? It just did once and then went on. But this time you have a ton of institutions manipulating this market and reaccumulating. That time it was that small of a reaccumulation. This time it's already this big for a reaccumulation. That means the markup can be bigger. Great news, meaning it's not only Bitcoin which is going to run up, you will watch a lot of people who are taking profits from Bitcoin coming into the altcoins. They need liquidity, so bigger amount of money will go into large cap assets, medium cap assets, and you will watch them popping. So what you need to keep in mind is when you see the market is reversing, Trust the market. Don't doubt it. If the market is saying I'm reversing and I'm going back up, just go with it. If the money is flowing in that direction to the upside, why would you go against it? So guys, if you received value, smash that like button for me. That supports the channel a lot. And if you are looking for any kind of updates on a lot of these assets which are trying to go back up, we are kind of going through a lot of these, right? We went through this earlier. We had shared this thought process. So if you are looking onto all of those, then this is going to be really helpful. The link is given in the description below. So that's it, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.